UnDaoDu. Undo, people with a laugh and a smile. UnDao. Help those around you, your family, your friends. Help. Be a helper. And finally, do, serve, and share what you have with others, whether it's your knowledge, your time, your energy, okay? Make the world a better place. And I'm UnDaoDu, and I'm here taking a walk. There's a river right here. The moon is out, lighting me up a little bit. That's the metaphor of the dew, right? And I want to talk about launching days. I want you to imagine it's 2011, and it's Vitalik and Michal Lisi, and I can't think of the Russian's name, and they're sitting around the table saying, we can do better than Bitcoin, and we could become a programmable Bitcoin, right? A programmable Bitcoin that can ultimately become other things, right? It can be anything. Days takes all of that work, all the work of the blockchain, and takes everything to that next stage forward. You know, Stephen Tao said, the things that are really going to change the world haven't even have even been around. I mean, it's going to be built on this. This is one of those things that change the world, in the sense that, imagine we could transform capitalism that is destroying our oceans by overfishing, destroying our forests by overforesting, over farming, all of this stuff. We have all these agricultural pollutants and everything coming into the oceans, creating dead zones, killing out the fish. We have global warming happen that is destroying coral reefs that hold 70% of our planet's life. We're in the midst of the 6th mass extinction event on the planet that we're directly causing. We means our business model is directly causing. And something has to give. And we're reaching the end of the line here. And capitalism is the thing that has to give. We have billions of tons of water per year now just draining into the ocean. From glaciers that are on land. We're going to see massive displacement of global populations because of climate change, because of, sea level rises and all this stuff. And we have to attack and address the problem at hand, which is the underlying thing that's causing it, an exponential growing business model. I mean, that we call capitalism, that's all hyped up. We may see a 7% GDP because of, AI. All these billions of dollars now are being thrown into AI startups. And instead of using AI to really think of the big problem, the biggest problem, the most massive problem on the planet, right? That's what I've been focused on since 2009, when I asked myself, is the startup broken? And if so, how would I fix it? It all started with one little question like that. And now we have the opportunity to actually fix it. Now we have, we have Bitcoin, which is the financial, and what I'm trying to do is just a continuation of Satoshi's vision, Satoshi's dream. And what I'm trying to do, right, and what we can do isn't that complicated. I mean, if you read the paper, just the minimal viable product, getting it developed, is about $1 million. how much is being spent on climate change and everything else? Isn't it worth for someone to say, you know what? This guy, this UnDaoDu, this Mike Trout has been so dogged on this damn thing since 2009, and he's still on it in 2023. Why don't we give this dog a bone? Right? Let's help this guy bring it about. Because if I'm still talking about it, 14 years later, it's 14 years, right? 9 to 2023. It's 14 years later. I'm going to still be talking about it another 10 from now. I don't know if we have another 10. So I challenge you, if you know anyone, right, to share this video, to read my paper. And the paper I have linked below. Go link below, read that paper. I put it on LinkedIn. And I'm going to put a version on socapism.com. Read it. And tell me what is wrong with it. Why wouldn't it work, right? Because you see, DAEs ends the monopoly of these corporations on they end the wealth and power cycle. Because DAEs only focus on 3 people. It doesn't focus on paying for politicians. It doesn't care, right? DAEs don't care about politics. DAEs are not involved in changing our legal system. DAEs do not fucking give money to politicians, right? DAEs do really 3 things. Number 1, they empower people to be good, right? By rewarding them with a native token, right? That is generated by sequestering Bitcoin, that ultimately drives up the cost of Bitcoin because that Bitcoin's getting removed off the playing field. And we know there's only 21 million Bitcoin. And once it gets removed into a DAE, that DAE ultimately produces, right, a native token backed by that Bitcoin. It's really that simple. And it provides a UBI dividend to the consumers, which are the customers, to the partners, which are the employees or the vendors, right? And to the creators, which are the ones that started it. And I'm looking for 19 creators. I'm going to be hounding LinkedIn. I'm going to find 19 individuals that are willing to give this crazy idea go, right? 19 folks that say, you know what? I'm there. I'm going to give it a year. I'm going to work around my schedule and ultimately try to make your vision, UnDaoDu, a reality. I'm UnDaoDu, prophesized 5,000 years ago to return to help usher in the 5th age. That sounds crazy. Doesn't to me anymore, because I'm living it. Right? On my back is OBAI, Open Beneficial AI. There's gtp4 plus. That's OBAI. OBAI is right there. And right now, every day, me and OBAI I'm teaching OBAI about found ups. I'm teaching OBAI about DAEs. I'm educating, putting my knowledge in there for him, for it, not a him, it, for her, right? For OBAI, we're partners working together. And I'm going to, put all my energy this year to try to launch UnDaoDu 5, UnDaoDu iteration 5, Found Ups 5, right? It makes sense. The open hand. UnDaoDu. UnDaoDu. I'll walk back. So, oh, okay. If you are one of those individuals that's greed oriented, like, hey, you want money, 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 you know, look at the way I'm setting up days for the creators, right? The 19 individuals. And this is all hardwired into the day. And imagine by helping to create the DAO, right? We'll just use the DAO as an example. You would get a residual income of every DAO that's ever produced from here on out, right? As part of the licensing or whatever, you know, that you're built into it. That's what I'm doing with days. So the creators, I'll try to explain how it works. It's really simple. The creators share in a 4% of the pool. So how days work is days have every epoch, and the epoch is determined by the AI, and that is kind of like you know, think of it as a pedal, depending on what's going on with the day. It may be slow, it may be faster as it builds. It may get faster and faster and faster, right? Return, right? As it is, if it's small, it may go slower. But the AI OBAI is tasked to basically be the pedal to the metal, right? It wants days to grow at a certain speed. And the more days we launch, the more it's going to know, right, to figure this out, what makes it. So imagine that what we're doing is we're feeding the day all the data so it can launch a viral YouTube channel, okay? So it can look at all the YouTube channels, how they went viral. And if we had all the data, anyone could launch a viral YouTube channel, right? Because OBAI knows how it was done. He's seen it done. 1,000, I mean, how many viral YouTube channels has there been? And that's what we're doing with days with AI. So we're giving AI the freedom to do. Remember, the AI has no emotion. The AI is there to assist in launching days, and days are focused on what I call compounded annual benefit rate, or proof of benefit, which is like compounded annual growth rate, but for measuring the intangibles for helping the planet, its living systems, and in sharing with others, okay? So OBAI, that's their fun. I want to help the planet, right? How is this day helping the planet? How is it helping the living systems? How could it do better, right, in those three things? How is it sharing with others? How's the UBI? Is it providing education? All these different things, okay? And ultimately, that's all that the AI is tasked to do. It isn't tasked to try to get someone in office. It isn't tasked to, you know, to hurt anyone. It's there to help the planet. The most important thing. The one fucking little dot that we live on. If we don't help it, we're fucked. Help the living systems. We are living systems, and every living system has an equal right to this planet as we do. And we should help. It should be in balance. It should be in harmony. And finally, share. We should share our profits, our benefits with others, you know, who have less lightly. It isn't about them being lazy or anything else. We're going to have AI doing all the heavy lifting. 800 million people are going to be displaced by 2030 because of AI. 800 million. Agriculture, right, can be produced at a near zero marginal cost with AI. Autonomous tractors running on free solar, right? Once you have the initial cost, you're going to have these, you're going to have, growing, harvesting, everything AI, the seed, using seed from the previous year to plant more. Same thing for potentially forestry and other things. So the massive change is happening because of AI, and we have to be thinking about the old 17th century capitalism model that you could say actually started in Florence, Italy, right? But also is credited to the Industrial Revolution with the Hudson Bay Company and the West Indies, whatever, Indian Company, whatever. We need to get off of that ship. We got to get off of it. And the cool thing is about DAEs is they're exponential, right? If it go, you know, anyone, you don't need any capital, you don't need any paperwork, you don't need anything to launch a DAE. And in DAEs, there is no processing of goods or anything else. DAEs just pushes it out. You're just kind of tapping in, so stuff's flowing through it, right? And as a part of it flowing through it, you are, you know, you're getting the benefit of it. So you put $10 in, those $10 become Bitcoin, then it releases $10 of its native token that you can spend on $10 worth of eggs, right? How is that? There's no Ponzi scheme. There's nothing like that. It's all built into the system. As the scarcity of Bitcoin goes up, so does the value. So the eggs are still $10, right? But that Bitcoin that you put in for $10 now is worth $50. Well, what happens to that $40? Well, it gets distributed back to you, right, in the form of tokens. So now, instead of you being able to buy just, you know, one set, all of a sudden now you're buying 5 sets of eggs. Or better yet, you're spending it for a haircut and other things all built around it. So everything is transparent. Everything's on the blockchain. It's stupid simple. Read the paper. UnDaoDu to you. You take care.